Hello, everybody, and today we're going to be doing 7 MLB trades that should happen in this offseason of 2020 through 2021. Now, this is my third time recording this, so if you are hearing this, I've had technical difficulties. But if you guys do like this video, hit that like button down below, and tell me in the comments down below, and just so if you agree or disagree with any of these MLB proposals. So, let's get started, and I hope this isn't too laggy. First up, number 7, we have Rangers and Braves. So the Rangers would get Braden Shoemake and Charlie Culberson, and the Braves would get Lance Lynn. Now, the Rangers would get a good prospect to add to their farm system, which is very weak, and they add it to that, and it makes them a lot stronger. They definitely need a shortstop position also, because their shortstop, Elvis Andrus, is pretty old. He's not going to be that great anymore. Charlie Culberson could be a platoon guy to just come in every once in a while if they need to. And then the Braves would get Lance Lynn. Now, Lance Lynn would help out their young rotation, which is very young, of Max Fried and Ian Anderson, and Lance Lynn could come in and be a veteran in that starting rotation. I think that the Braves would really take this trade. Now, this might not seem like a great trade for the Rangers since Lance Lynn's a pretty good pitcher, but, getting guys for their farm system would really help out the Rangers because their farm system is really bad and their team is not great either. They're not looking too promising for the future. Next up, number 6 trade, we have the Angels and the Nationals. Now, this is a pretty crazy trade, but hear me out. So the Angels would get Steven Strasburg and Brock Holt. So Steven Strasburg obviously is a really good starting pitcher, and the Angels need good starting pitching. And you know that starting pitching for them is pretty weak, and they get a veteran in their starting pitching, and their starting pitching is young and even a little bit old, and it's not even that good. And then you get Brock Holt, a second baseman infielder who could be a depth piece, maybe fill in for Andrelton Simmons or a spot like that, move over to short, or it could stay in second. I see that going to the Angels, and the Nationals would get Joe Adell, and they would also get Max Stasey. Now, Joe Adell is obviously the Angels' top prospect, outfielder, who is really good. Is at least touted to be one of the best prospects in baseball and could be one of the next Mike Trouts. Now, even though this is a really good prospect, I think the Angels should trade him because they already have Mike Trout, and their outfield is not a weak position. It's their pitching. If they want to get to the World Series and even just the playoffs, they need pitching. They don't need more outfield depth. So I think they should trade Joe Adell and Max Stasey, a backup catcher for the Nationals, or even just a main catcher. He didn't do too bad in minimal appearances this year. He actually did not do too bad, about a 270 average, 7 or 8 home runs. Not a bad player, You add him to the Nationals, maybe make him be your backup or starting catcher. Next up, the number 5, the Twins and the Royals. Now, I had to bring in I had to do a Twins one because I'm Twins biased. I like the Twins, so I had to do at least one Twins trade. So I said the Twins would get Whit Merrifield, a multi-positional outfielder, and can also do second base. And, I really think the Twins should get him, and I think the Royals would get back starting pitchers Devin Smeltzer, shortstop and second baseman Nick Gordon, and outfielder Brent Rooker. So Whit Merrifield is a guy I think that should go to the Twins. He could be a backup piece or even just a starter because the Twins struggle with injuries a lot. You bring in Whit Merrifield, he can be your new multi-positional guy and give you 300 average, 200 hits. This guy gets on base, and that's something that last season the Twins didn't do too well. They hit lots of home runs, but they didn't get on base much, and I think you add that to the Twins lineup and it makes it scarier. Obviously, this is an in-division trade, so, there's a little bit of that going on, but, the Royals get Devin Smeltzer, a starting pitcher who has good potential, and Nick Gordon, also a guy who has good potential, but since the Twins have Royce Lewis coming up and they already have Jorge Polanco, they're probably not going to need Nick Gordon, and then Brent Rooker, outfielder, and their outfield's loaded with Trevor Lawrence, Alex Kirilloff, Lamont Wade, Jake Cave, Eddie Rosario, Byron Buxton, Max Kepler. It's just so many people. It's flooded right now, so I think that should be that's the 5th trade, Twins and Royals. Next up, the 4th trade between the Rockies and the Cardinals. The Rockies would get Matthew Liberatore and Tyler O'Neill and then the Cardinals would give away Nolan Arenado. Now, Nolan Arenado going to the Cardinals would be a great pickup for the Cardinals, if they do lose Paul DeJong, you could slot him at third base, maybe move Tommy Edman to second, or move him to short, move Paul DeJong to second. But you could really do that with the Cardinals. The Cardinals need more offensive production. They're good defense, they're good speed, but they don't have good power. They don't have good just hitting. And I think you add Nolan Arenado to that, and it makes their hitting a lot more powerful. Now, the Rockies, they need pitching. Matthew Liberatore is a very good young starting pitching prospect from the Cardinals that you could get to be a pitcher, be a very good pitcher, and I think that the Rockies would really want that. They lack pitching. They would also get Tyler O'Neill, a young outfielder who has insane potential power. He could do so well, hit, especially in Colorado. I'm talking 30, 40 home runs. This dude has very good potential. He obviously didn't show it in St. Louis that much, but if he gets to it, that would be a great pickup for the Rockies and just some young prospects and young guys to help out the offense in that pitching rotation. Next up, we have the Brewers and the Dodgers. This is a pretty crazy trade, but the Brewers would get Michael Busch and Bobby Miller, and then the Dodgers would get Josh Hader. Now, Josh Hader, probably the best closer in baseball and probably the best relief pitcher in baseball. He's just insane. The one spot the Dodgers lack a little bit, even though their team is so good, like unbelievable. The one area that is a little bit lackluster is their bullpen. And you add Josh Hader to that, one of the best guys ever in the bullpen. He's just so good, so dominant. That's a really good bullpen arm, and the Dodgers need it. And since the Brewers have Devin Williams, one Rookie of the Year coming up, he could fill in for Josh Hader. He looked very good. And they would get Michael Busch and Bobby Miller, two really good prospects in their farm system, which is very weak. One of the worst farm systems in baseball, just like the Rangers. You get them in there, they could help out your team and really for the future so that you can become a better team. And yeah, the farm system can hopefully be a lot better with them. So that is the third trade proposal. Next up, the last two trade proposals, we have the Mets and the Indians. The Mets would get Francisco Lindor, the best shortstop in baseball, and the Indians would get Pete Crow Armstrong and Todd Frazier and Ahmed Rosario. So, the Mets, obviously, if they get another hitter, their team's going to be even more insane. They got a new manager in Steve Cohen, a new owner, You can get Francisco Lindor, great shortstop, great hitter, great defensive player, just a great overall player. And the Indians are getting Pete Crow Armstrong, a good outfield prospect, which they lack outfield. Todd Frazier, a good power third baseman, which the Indians also lack power, and Ahmed Rosario to kind of fill in for Francisco Lindor. And you get that, and honestly, for the Indians, this might not be a terrible trade. It would be hopefully better than the Corey Kluber trade, but yeah, that's my second trade. Now, the number one trade, if this trade doesn't happen, this is what I think will happen to Francisco Lindor, the Yankees and the Indians. The Yankees get Francisco Lindor, shortstop, and the Indians would get Luke Voit and Clint Frazier. Now, I know a lot of people talk about how, the Indians should get Luke Voit. Like, yeah, I'd agree. They should get Luke Voit. The Indians lack power. Luke Voit would bring that. And obviously, the Yankees would get Francisco Lindor, great defense, great offensive hitter, would really help out that team. But also, Clint Frazier is a really good outfield prospect, or outfielder, even kind of outfield prospect. Has been up in the minors and majors throughout the Yankees' time, but you get that to the Indians who need outfield help. That's actually not a bad pickup. I think a lot of people think, Francisco Lindor for Luke Voit, but honestly, Francisco Lindor, even though how amazing Luke Voit was this season, Francisco Lindor is probably still the better player. So I think you add Clint Frazier to that, and that makes a pretty fair deal. Those are my 7 MLB trades that should happen in the 2020 through 2021 offseason. Let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree. I hope that most of these are somewhat fair and they're not complete oh my gosh, that's not even close to fair, but hopefully they're somewhat fair and they all somewhat make sense. If they do, just let me know down in the comments and let me know if you agree or disagree. Anyways, if you like this video, I hope you enjoy, and I guess I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.